We are joined now by the Athletics' Tobias Bass. Tobias, obviously one of the people who broke the news yesterday about Amir Ali committing to Arizona State over schools like Kentucky, Kansas, Alabama, Arkansas. I do want to start with Ali before we get into the rest of the Arizona State basketball program. But what led to Ali's commitment to Bobby Hurley in Arizona State?
I think he had a really good visit. I think they really sold him on how they could potentially use him. Hurley's done well with players like him in the past, those 6'7" type of wings that'll really go in there and be able to score it. He can score on all three levels, and I think Hurley really sold that to him. And they hired his brother on the staff recently, so I believe that also really led into it as well.
Was there any promise, I guess, of playing time at that point? Just because, at least from my perspective, what else would it be for a guy like Ali, who could certainly play just about anywhere in the nation, to come play in Tempe over some of those blue blood schools?
I think the guarantee of playing time, I don't know. I think Hurley's going to make everybody earn it, but I think there was an expectation. If you come here, we're gonna have you play. So I think you look at this final list. It was Kentucky, Alabama, Kansas, Arkansas. Kentucky's really going after Trey Johnson. Carter Knox, his brother, played there. Kansas has got a couple commits over the last couple of months or so. Alabama is really trying to get in there with a couple of guys as well, and same with Arkansas. So I think when it came down to it, Arizona State made the most sense just from a family member being higher perspective, playing time perspective, and how he believes they'll use him.
Absolutely. You brought it up a little bit earlier just in terms of Ali's scoring ability. What can ASU fans expect in the future from a guy who's a 6'8", 190-pound forward who plays at IMG Academy?
He's all about buckets. He's played in big games pretty much his whole life. So he's from Texas. So I've been watching him for a while. So he's kind of been all over. He played at Montverde for a season. He played at IMG, and he left again. So he's played with good players pretty much his whole high school career, and the same will be when he gets to Tempe. So ASU fans expect him to come in there and be a scorer from day one. He really knows how to play, high IQ, and he's gotten much better at his overall catch and shooting ability. So you pair him in there with like a Braylon Green and some of the other guys you brought in, he'll be a nice addition to their roster.
You mentioned Braylon Green, obviously Akil Watson, another one of the freshmen for Arizona State.
Mhm.
I don't want to skip too fast beyond Ali, but is there any other potential commits or recruits that we could see potentially committing to Bobby Hurley in Arizona State here in the next couple of weeks?
One I would keep my eye on will be Ja'Kai Howard. I know he's also been on the visit recently. Cashmere Chavez, I think he's from Minnesota. He's another one they're looking at as well. So I would keep an eye on Ja'Kai Howard. I know that he really liked his visit when he was down there. I'm not sure on commitment date or when he'll commit, but he's one that I would keep a lookout for. He's played really, really well the past 2 months. I've seen him play at least 3 times. I went to Atlanta to watch him for the pro day, and I saw him in Vegas 2 weeks ago. So he's gotten much better.
Yeah, that's definitely something Arizona State fans can hopefully be looking forward to here in the next couple of weeks. As it relates to Bobby Hurley's team and Arizona State, just a few days away now, November 8th, is when Bobby Hurley and the Sun Devils have their first game of the season. What did you see really from this coaching staff in terms of what they built in terms of a roster in the offseason? Obviously adding a lot of pieces in the transfer portal, whether that be Zane Meeks, Kamari Lands, Adam Miller, etc.
I mean, they brought in 8 guys total. I believe 6 of them were coming in the transfer portal. They lost a lot. Austin
Yeah.
Nunez leaves, Chambers leaves, Warren leaves. They lost some really key pieces. But what I did like, they did a good job of bringing in some older guys and some young guys. You look at a guy like Sean Phillip, who's a sophomore. You bring in Kamari Lance, who's a sophomore. Both these guys were top 100 players, so they're going to be able to build for the short term and the long term with those guys. And you bring in veterans, Adam Miller, Zane Meeks, Bryson Long, guys like that. So I think to be successful in college basketball, you have to have a good combination of old and young. They did
Yeah.
just that. And I think that'll help them going forward.
Yeah, most definitely. This is an Arizona State team that just in the last couple of weeks in terms of scrimmages has beaten San Jose State. In overtime, they
Yeah.
beat San Diego State. Jemiah Neal obviously being a big part
Mhm.
in both of those games. What are your expectations for Arizona State, Jemiah Neal, and really this Sun Devil team this season?
I think they'll have a good season. I think that this will be the best the Pac-12 has been in probably a decade or so. It's unfortunate the league's breaking up, but I think they'll be right on the thick of things, probably in the top 4 to 5. I think they can get them a tournament bid as well.
Definitely. That's definitely the thing that Arizona State fans want to hear and they're expecting
Yeah.
at some point this season. Last question before I get you out of here, Tobias. In terms of the Pac-12 as a whole, you brought it up. It's looking like it's going to be the best the conference has been in some time now,
Mhm.
similar to the way that the football teams are playing. Who do you think is maybe going to be a surprise team to keep an eye on in the Pac-12?
Good question. I mean, it's kind of up in the air. One team I was looking at, I like Cal, but Jalen Tyson, didn't get the waiver. That really, really hurt him. So I'm probably going to have to move them out. I don't know if this is a problem. I like what Oregon did. They brought back two of the top leading scorers. You bring in two McDonald's All Americans and a freshman point guard who I think is going to be really good. He actually was on my top 20 freshman list. So I like Oregon's team. They haven't made the tournament I think since 2021, not too long, but I think it'll be time they get back in the tournament. I think they do that this year.
I know there's a lot of people that are absolutely excited for college basketball to
Yeah,
be back. The Athletics Tobias Bass. Tobias, thank you so much for taking the time today, man.
no problem, man. Thank you.